YouTube, what's up? This video right here is to cover racial bias and social inequality. Does it exist here? It's a touchy subject. A content creator that I'm very familiar with discussed it the other day. I will not mention him. That's a Patreon topic, and that's a Patreon discussion. So you'll find the information of who I'm referring to with this video. With that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing started.
Ciao, ciao. Get away sometime. Adios. Traveling since I took a trip to Cartagena. Mark calendar of the day, put in my daily planner. Pick cousin up who resided in Savannah. 3.5 hour trip to Parcha and Atlanta. Book United, how I go up in the friendly sky. Once economy, now first class the way I fly.
YouTube, what up? UTT, Travel MC. Like, share, subscribe. There's a saying, it's not really popular, but it's invisible lines that divide. Now, I wouldn't say that exists here, but when he mentions what he mentions, I believe you just got to prove yourself when you get here. How much are you willing to, to put in, 120%? At what cost are you willing to put that 120%? At all costs, are you willing to go the extra mile? Or are you going to just do bare minimum? Do you have a high motor? Are you going to pace yourself? Or are you going to be somebody who always disappears? Are you going to be somebody who they got to find? Somebody who always going to run into the bathroom, who takes bathroom breaks? That can actually be detrimental to you. And that could have you on, it can have you at the bottom of the list. I can give you guys an example. I know some associates of mine that actually got on a list to work. And they probably got on that list to work because they proved themselves. If you prove yourself, you're always on time. I mean, you don't miss days. You don't make excuses. Then I can see you getting into the higher tier in a more favorable list. When it comes down to who they're gonna pick to come in when things slow down, when things wind down, when things are kind of tight and they don't really have enough work to really accommodate the core or to accommodate the group that's actually being housed. And so, like for an example, today, a lot of people are not on the list. A lot of people were off today. People who were on the list, a lot of them were locals. So that's an example of, I wouldn't say social inequality or racial bias, but that's what's a good word for this? They're more important, shall I say, or they're more favorable. So that's a good way to put that. There's another word for it, but I just can't think of it. So I'll let you guys know when I come up with the word. And but yes, I can also say that there are circles. There are ethnic groups, of course. That's why a lot of podcasts I watch, people always mention when you want to travel abroad, when you want to move abroad, you can't just go to different countries and just think that you can just get away with just speaking English. That's why it's good to be bilingual. It's good to know Spanish, or it's good to know Russian. It's good to know maybe, I don't know, I guess Filipino. I don't know if it's a language. I don't know what language they speak, but it's good to be acclimated in different cultures. And so here, the main cultures I see is Filipino, Latin, African American, Caucasian American, African American, like myself. I said that part. And then you also got Filipino, and you have, I see African. Those like one of those 5 ethnic groups that I see. So I believe if you understand those cultures and you're acclimated in those cultures, I also see Dominican. That's Latin, Dominicans. But if you're acclimated in those cultures and you understand their culture, you can kind of you can find your way of getting into those circles as well, and actually being accepted in those circles. Whereas though if you're just a English speaker and you can't communicate with other ethnic groups, then yes, you're going to be kind of outcast a little bit. You're going to feel that way, and it won't even mean that you're being there's any bias or anything. It just means that they're just sticking with their own kind and they're sticking with their race, which is nothing wrong with that. So the content creator that actually mentions this, he mentioned that it does exist. I wouldn't say it exists. I just say maybe some groups got more to prove than others. And I think once you prove yourself, then you can be more accepted. That's a better way that I could put it. This is more of a Patreon subject. But if you guys want to touch base on that a little more on Patreon, I can also do so. And I left the link for this individual on there. I'm not going to leave it on YouTube because I don't have his permission to do so. So it's on the Patreon, and I have his link, and this is what this topic is about based on his post a couple of weeks back. If you're familiar with him, hey, if you want to leave a comment and say who you think the guy is, you can mention him if you want. But I'm going to keep that to myself. But I have him in the Patreon. So I ask, as I always do, I ask for your support so we can get more in-depth topics and more in-depth, conversations. So thanks again. UTT, the Travel MC. Catch you later. Oh, and before I leave you guys, I think I come up with the word to use for someone who's actually getting favorable and accepted a little more than the next person. It could be prioritized. Someone can be more priority than another person. That can also happen, but that's all part of culture. That's all part of the circle. That's all part of proving yourself. That's all part of earning your stripes. So I think it comes down to really earning your stripes and proving yourself. And then I think if you're in a certain circle or part of a certain culture, you have a head start. That's what I can say. You have a head start when you're part of a culture. But that doesn't mean that the person that's part of their circle or part of that culture where the seniority is, that they're going to always be ahead of you. You can end up surpassing the individual who's part of that circle if you prove yourself. I don't think it's so bad to the point where you don't have a shot and the door is just slammed shut. I will not say that. I'll be wrong to say that. But, I think you just got to prove yourself. And if you do so, then you'll climb the ranks and you'll get very far in this industry. You'll get very far with this company. What price are you willing to pay? Do you want to just do 100%? Or are you willing to do 120%? Now, more than likely, if you do 120, you're going to get a whole lot further than somebody who's just doing either bare minimum or, I don't know if you would say 100% is a bare minimum, but I guess that's closer to bare minimum than anything. So 120 is what you have to give, and you won't even be in this equation, you know what I mean? But they always say some ethnic groups in the U.S. have to work 10 times harder than other ethnic groups. And that stands, man. I mean, so that's just my thoughts, But I agree with him somewhat, but I mean, hey, he's been doing it longer than me, so he has more of a say when it comes to that. This is the only place I've been to, and I know who the seniors are here. And I'm not gonna really get into detail of who the seniors are here, but it counts, man. It counts. So thanks again. Remember, hit my Patreon. We can get a little deeper. If y'all want a little bit more answers, hit the Patreon, because I'm not gonna be on YouTube talking about this. Not at all. I'm surprised he even brought it up, but maybe he just felt like taking the chance and talking about this topic. I just don't like the topic, so. But I figured I would just try to, sugarcoat it as much as I could. Thanks, y'all. See you. Remember, if you live here in Kodiak, and they're not paying for your plane ticket, and you live here, you're a resident here in Kodiak, and you live here, and you stay at your own place, that's prioritized. That's called a local employee. So they're gonna get seniority over everyone.